brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice. Oh, these brothers my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side, CJ Ike, now I gotta roll with ice.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Paul with Spheric Reptiles, and I thank you so much for tuning into our channel today on our final unboxing of 2024. And this is probably about 6 animals, I think it's 6 animals that I will be sharing with you. And the major reason why you haven't seen these animals before is because I want them to go through our extensive quarantine procedure. We recently lost an animal that we picked up, and I'm so glad that I had that animal in quarantine, because when it presented itself with issues with being able to digest food, so it had a parasite, I didn't have it anywhere near my collection, which is the major reason why you should quarantine to begin with. And in that, I was able to even isolate that animal even more from the other animals that were in quarantine, which is one of the things that you want to do. But for this unboxing, I really want to get into the morphs, why we got them, and just put out a little bit more of the information that new breeders, people that haven't bred ball pythons before, would be interested in, because I think these little steps are things that help you to be successful in the future. But I also wanted to share with you some of the reasons why we got them for our own future projects. And I'll just give you a little snapshot at the very end. If you can stick around in this video, you'll see how we progress. And some of these animals you can find very easily, and some of them you just can't find. So with that, it might go against your better judgment. So there are some risks that you take with getting any animal. But some of those risks, are pretty good risks that you would be willing to take anyway. So I'll discuss some of those things as well, and some of the issues we had with these animals while they were in quarantine as we go along. All right, so first off, I want to discuss quarantining. Quarantining is so important, and I won't spend that much time on this, but generally speaking, if you don't have but 2 animals, then you can keep them separated, right? You probably won't have them housed in a rack system like this or that. They'll be separate in their own enclosures. They'll be nice and dressed up. But once you start getting a lot of animals, you got to figure out the way that you can actually keep these animals and see if they're sick or if they're going through anything, or just to make sure that they're treated of mites, which is a major reason of quarantining. You don't want to introduce mice to your population, as well as to see if this animal is eating, and if it's having any difficulty eating, because those are the 2 important things. But also, while they're in quarantine, I'm looking at everything from their normal behavior, which I've researched thoroughly. I need them to go through a shed. I need to see if they drink water, if their poop is coming out, if it's solid, if it's liquid, if the smell of it, because if you keep snakes or ball pythons in particular, you know that their feces and their urates have a certain smell. It's crazy that I even know that shit, right? But anyway, that's the major reason why we quarantine. And we generally were doing 30 days, but now I've switched that to 60 to 90 days because I really want to be extensive. And you can go further than that. But I think at 60 to 90 days, I can determine whether this animal is healthy, if it's normal, if it's that mite cycle would have went through twice. So these animals are getting treated for mice every 30 days. So I'm treating them the first time, then I'm watching them. And then I'm treating them again to make sure that they go through, all the while trying to see if they're going to eat, their normal behavior. I'm handling them a little bit, but with that I have on gloves so that I make sure that I'm not transmitting anything to the rest of our home. But hey, man, that's what we do. All right, so the first animal that I'm going to show you is a chocolate hypo desert ghost that we picked up from Busman Reptiles, and this guy is a real banger. So we wanted to get this animal here, which we call Texas, pretty much because we wanted to be able to have this DG project. And I'm going to see if I can get this on the camera. But one of the major reasons why we wanted to get this animal is because we wanted to really work that hypo DG project. And this is a double visual male. We saw him at such a good deal, and he's already got pretty good size to him, around 200 grams. So we thought it'd be a good investment because, as you know, male ball pythons reach sexual maturity at around 700 grams, even though we don't begin to breed ours until they're almost 900 grams. So, but he's eating like a champ, wean rats, which, at 200 grams, that's pretty impressive that he can eat a rat that's a little bit bigger than what you would see in a rat pup. But hey, this is Texas, and we got him from Fireball. And one of the major reasons, like I said before, is we wanted to be able to work that hypo DG project really, really well. And I think that this will allow us to do so. Moving along, we got a blackhead that's double head for clown pod. Now, if you've watched our videos before, we already have a double visual clown pod, but it doesn't have anything but a normal expression of the incomplete dominant genes. It's a clown and pod, so it's double recessive. But we thought that it would be a good idea to have a backup, even though he does breed, but to also introduce some genetic diversity to our animals as they grow, so that the offsprings from Jetty, our clown pod, will be able to mate with the offspring of Dallas, which is the double head clown pod. So I'll show you him right now. And we picked him up from Busman Reptiles. And you can see he's right here. He's a blackhead. He's a double head for clown and pod. And I'm thinking that this is on the camera as it switched around the other way. I'm using my iPhone. But he's very pretty. He's eating like a champ. Rat pups. He's around 150 grams now, so he's a little bit smaller than Texas. But we really feel like he'll be able to bring us some really good diversity to our projects as we move forward. So, and that's one of the things I want you guys to think about as new breeders, is adding diversity. So when you're going to buy your animals, really have a plan and a focus for the animals that you're buying for the future. So don't just buy them because of recent trends. Actually do your research and see which direction you want to go, because some of those bigger projects, like I'll use the puzzle project. So the puzzle project, it would make no sense for me to get into that, because the price point to get into that is higher than what I'm willing to pay. So by the time I get one male puzzle, raise them up to get another one, these are just single gene animals, right? Just puzzle and one incomplete dominant, if that. Then by the time I make them, those animals, I wouldn't be able to move them anyway. So that's why we're moving in the direction that we're moving, one that I really feel like is near and dear to me. And that's one of the key things. Make it near and dear to you, because that way you'll always be happy with it. You're looking for what you want, and that's the key. Moving on to Rihanna, our Cypress head clown that we got from Serpent Suburbia. And I'm really glad to finally be able to show her. And I keep all of the smaller animals in these little tubs, like they got a little hole right there so that they can have an additional hiding space. And I remove these and I turn them upside down and everything else just to add a little bit more enrichment. But as I get Rihanna out and put her hide back, you can see just how pretty she is. We got her from Serpent Suburbia, and we didn't have any Cypress. So I felt like the best thing for us to do was to get a Cypress head clown, because that way anything that we bred her to, clown or not, it's going to be at least 50%, 66%, or, you know, it'll be a visual if we breed her to a clown. But the major reason is that we wanted to see what this would look like in a TSK project, Lavender Albino or Dreamsicle project, the Desert Ghost Hypo project. Of course, we're hoping that we get the clown version as well. But all of those things so that we could get just this beautiful snake, which you already see on your screen, in Rihanna. And she was around 100 grams. We got her at a Reptile Expo, of all places, from Serpent Suburbia, and we're really happy that she made it through the quarantine process. She started eating immediately. She didn't present with mites. Feces was normal. So those are some of the things that you want to think about when your animal's in quarantine. And we documented all that. So I'll put her up and get the next one out. Before I go any further, I want to thank my buddy at Chain Reaction Exotics, Danny Cadenas. I finally got a shirt, and you can see on the back, it's got his logo on the back. So like Billy says, Mutation Creations, he's not lacking, not slacking. So I'm really glad that I was able to get this shirt. Lynn got a shirt too, so that the next Reptile Expo we work with them, I can wear this shirt on one day and my shirt on the next. I have no problem doing that. He's helped me out so much during this whole process. I definitely encourage you guys to go and look at his Morph Market and give him a call. He always has snakes that he does a lot more shows than he puts up on Morph Market. But at the end of the day, he's a very knowledgeable source of information. So if you got any questions, reach out to him. So this next snake is from Chain Reaction Exotics, and it's a pastel hypo that's head for Desert Ghost. It's a female as well. I just need to see where I put her to get her out. Oh, here she is down here. So she's a little bit bigger. She's around 600 grams. And one of the things that we liked about her is that first she has a pastel, which I think pastel works really good in the hypo and Desert Ghost projects. Not for every incomplete dominant trait. But, you know, it does give you the ability to see what it will do to those, like when you look at Texas, which is a chocolate that's double visual, I'm sorry, for Hypo and Desert Ghost, just to see what will turn out with her. And if nothing else, I could breed her to a Hypo, but we could also see what this would work out in an Exanic project with TSK, and also just to push Dreamsicle, because I don't remember ever seeing a Hypo Desert Ghost Dreamsicle. So I'm really going to try to see just what that looks like over time. I mean, that's what I got to work with, right? So, but this is Beyonce, and you can see just she has a little size on her. She's eating wean rats as well. We're trying to get her moved up to small rats, but so far she's not on it because where she came from, she was on African soft furs. So until I start breeding those, I got to keep trying to wean rats. So that's what she's eating for now. Next animal we're getting out is a female spot nose pinstripe that's head for clown. We got her from Spheric Reptiles at the NERBC in Dallas, the last one, so you know just how long ago that was. It's taken a while to get her on food, so that's why she stayed in quarantine for so long, but that's okay. You know, I want to make sure that every animal that comes to our collection here is definitely eating routinely, so that means every week. So until then, I need to stabilize that environment, which is one of the reasons why your ball python will not eat. So that means if they're not eating, you might need to crowd the cage a little bit, still keep them with the room, but crowd the cage, make sure that they have fresh water, and just kind of hands off with the exception of when you're feeding. That's one of the things that I found that really works for getting our ball pythons that are a little bit reluctant to eat. So you might want to try that and then work with different prey sizes. So again, like just to talk about that, African soft furs, rats, and mice, those are your options. And then you can either go live or frozen thawed, just to see whatever it takes to get this animal to eat before you have to step in and assist feed, which luckily I haven't had to do, with the exception of maybe one of these animals, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But let me show you what she looks like. And this is Adele. We try to name our females after singers and our males after states or other cars or something like that. But let me go ahead and get her out. So one of the reasons we wanted to get her, as I show her to you right now, is I haven't seen that much work with the pinstripe, but I'm really, really interested in the pinstripe and the TSK project, right? So that with Desert Ghost and Hypo, I just would like to see that, as well as in the future to maybe even breed her to see what a pinstripe spot nose dreamsicle will be. And that, of course, would be to Maximus. And he is a leopard, confusion, blackhead, double visual dreamsicle. So, but yeah, so we got Adele right here, and she took a while to eat, but now that she's definitely starting to eat, you see that she's a pretty big snake already, but we're so excited to have. We also have another pinstripe that's head for clown, and that's Sakira. You've already seen her. She's already like 1,200 grams. We're just waiting on her follicles to get big enough so that we could actually start pairing her around 1,400 grams, 1,500 grams. But until then, we definitely have Adele right here that we're going to be growing up for our future projects. And that's just more in line so that we can have a little bit more genetic diversity and give us some different ways to go outside of just pinstripe. Now we got spot nose with pinstripe. So we'll get to work with those two genes and see exactly what happens when we combine her with our other projects like the Desert Ghost Hypo, the TSK Hypo, or the True Ghost, and then a Dreamsicle, as well as the Clown Pie and things like that. Let's get on to the star of the show, in my eyes. And you let me know what you think. And I'll explain some of the difficulties we had and then why I chose to get her to begin with. This last snake, which is to me the star of the show, it went against everything. I'm just going to let you know, it went against everything in my better judgment for buying a snake. First, she was around 60 grams. I wasn't really sure that she was eating at 60 grams. I saw her at a show, but the genes that presented were just unreal. So she is a female. Of course, she's a female. So super mahogany, chocolate cinnamon. That's 100% heifer pied. I've had all these things genetic tested, with the exception of the mahogany. I didn't have that one genetic tested. But the Wookiee and all that other stuff, I had a genetic test of heifer pied. So she proved that, and then I've looked at a lot of different types of super mahoganies, what they look like and things like that. So I did my research before I even bought her, and then even afterwards, just to make sure that I was getting what I paid for. But she did not want to eat, so I had to assist feed her while she was in quarantine, being treated for mites, watching her poop. I had to assist feed her 4 times before she actually took the food, which is one of the things that, as a breeder, you already know what I'm talking about. It's one of those fingers crossed. It's like, how long will I have to do this before she actually kicks in and does it on her own? And then now she's been eating on her own for about 4 weeks. So she was actually in quarantine for over 90 days. And I was just like, come on, come on. She's named Aunt Margot after my auntie that I loved so much as a kid. I was a little bit scared of her. She was, she's a little bit of a wild child. So, I just really wanted to name her after that because she was just a beautiful woman as well. And, this is Aunt Margot right here. Let me go ahead and get her out. She's still really tiny because I had to assist feed her. But now you see, when I say that she was 60 grams, now she is right at around close to 100 grams. And you got a shot up on the screen of an earlier picture I took in a light box. But one of the things that I really like about her is that I've never seen this combination of genes put together like this for a snake. So I've never seen a super mahogany cinnamon chocolate that was heifer pied, right? And if you do see it, they're like gone the next day. So I didn't want to see this snake, and I thought about it for a whole day, and I asked them to hold it. I gave them like 25 bucks to hold it. So I was like, even if I don't come back, at least this is some money. I will be here at the show. And the one good thing about her is that she presents so much opportunity for us, whether we go with just the pied version of her, or we go into the dreamsicle, or we go into the Hypo Desert Ghost, TSK with these dark genes. I don't know how that works with Exanic, but I'm definitely curious to see, as well as with Clown Pieds. I mean, there's just so many different ways we can go with this female. I'm, of course, going to take a little bit of time to get her to grow, but everything, even though she's small, I'm just looking at like a 3-year plan to get her up to size. So we got some time, but that's one of the things that I would like for you guys to consider as well, is the amount of time that it takes to get your animals up to size. It's just one of those things. Some animals are voracious eaters. Some animals are ferocious. Some animals are ferocious eaters, and some just don't want to eat like that. So she is now one of those that likes to eat. She likes eating on her own, but she's also going to be puppy dog tame because I had to assist feed her. And so now she will eat no matter what. I can play music. I can do whatever. I can open it up. It can be in the morning, in the afternoon, no matter what. Now she's eating. So that's a good thing. And I got her on a 5-day schedule, which if you're looking to boost your animal's metabolism and keep them with that routine, that's one of the things that you can do as well. And, this is Aunt Margot. She's just the star of the show. She's not an obsidian. She's not all black, but definitely she has some of those lighter tones running along the spine on her dorsal. But you can see just underneath and just how dark she is with the chocolate cinnamon as well as the super mahogany. So yeah, this is Aunt Margot, and I'm really excited about her. And I'll just put her back real quick. There you go, Aunt Margot. So thank you guys for watching today. I'm so thrilled to share with you our unboxing, our final unboxing for 2024, and explain some of the things like quarantining and why we do that, and some ways that you can look forward for your projects and other things like that that will just set you up for success, right? So our channel is, again, devoted to those that are relatively new or considering breeding ball pythons or just taking their level of keeping of ball pythons to the next level. We do highlight some other animals, but I am thoroughly enjoying doing this, and I would recommend that you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and as well as comment on some of the things that you liked about this video, as well as some of the projects that you're working on, because this is a small community still. Only 3 to 5% of Americans own reptiles. So hopefully you're having a good holiday season, and as always, guys, enjoy that time that you spend with your reptiles, and cherish the time and enjoy that time that you spend with your families. Thank you.